It would be an understatement to say that Manipur has been through a lot lately. In 2022, I took a look at some of the top startups from Northeast India, and a number of those companies were actually based in Manipur. And so in 2024, today, I wanted to check in and find out how these companies are doing. Are these startups still operational? Now, according to the Government of India's Startup India portal, there are only 139 DPIIT registered startups currently in the state. But when I spoke to a number of the founders that I'm going to be talking about in this video, they actually told me that they're still very hopeful and optimistic about the future of Manipur's startup ecosystem. And so in today's video, I'll be taking a look at the top 10 startups from Manipur. So we're going to begin our journey in the city of Imphal, where we have the first online food delivery company in Manipur called Foodwifi. Back in 2017, Manipur didn't have a Zomato or Swiggy. And so two friends, Bickychand, Khangjrakpam, and Kenedy, Oinam, decided to start Foodwifi to fill this gap. When they first started the company, the only people who were ordering food from their platform were their own family members and friends. But by the end of the first year, they had started to get around 30 to 50 orders per day. And by the second year, that number had grown by 10x to reach 500 orders per day. Today, their app has been downloaded by more than 1 lakh people in Manipur, and Bickychand told me that Foodwifi continued to be the leader in the food delivery space even after Swiggy in 2021 and Zomato in 2022 came to Manipur. Of course, operating a tech business in Manipur right now is not easy. First, there was the pandemic, and then just as the economy was getting back up on its feet, Manipur was plunged into this new chaos, and that's been a constant affair for more than a year now. Then there was a 6-month-long internet blackout, and then there was flooding. So Foodwifi definitely isn't operating at its peak right now, but they're still neck and neck with Zomato in terms of market share in the region. Bickychand told me that even though they're not looking to add any new services right now, they are planning to expand their presence into new cities to grow their business. But here's the incredible thing about Foodwifi. In spite of everything that's happened, they've managed to build a profitable business using their own money. And at one point, they did have to take loans for growth, which they've already repaid, making Foodwifi also a completely debt-free company. All right, this next startup has been very busy launching one of Northeast India's first multilingual OTT platforms for movies. It's called PurpledTV. Being actively involved in the regional film industry in Imphal, Dustin, Thangjam, and Bipin, Laitonjam had seen firsthand how much the industry had grown since the early 2000s. But when OTT giants like Netflix and Amazon Prime Video came to India, they noticed that people were moving towards international content, leaving the regional film industry to struggle. And even though there was demand for local Manipuri content, there was no platform for this content. And so back in 2019, the duo started working on PurpledTV as a web platform. Soon enough, though, they realized that they were going to need an app if they wanted to increase distribution and make regional content more accessible. So they got Gyanendro Khomdram as their third co-founder and started working on the app at the AIC SMU TBI. This is the Atal Incubation Center, Sikkim Manipal University Technology Business Incubator, and it allowed them to work away from all of the violence. Finally, on the 9th of August, 2023, they launched the first version of their app, and they've decided to keep all of the content on their platform free for all of their users for the first year. The idea here, and this is pretty clever, was to get as many users as they possibly could. And in just 10 months of launching their app, they already had more than 3,000 users on their platform. Then they started adding content in Manipuri languages before adding more content from other Northeast Indian states. And when we spoke to Dustin while we were writing the script for this video, he told us that they're planning on monetizing their platform this year in 2024, and they will continue to have a freemium version where users can continue to watch content for free, but they'll be shown ads. Apart from this, they're also going to be launching their own paid subscription plan where they'll be adding most of their content. Dustin is expecting to close FY25 with 30 lakh rupees in revenue. And right now they're offering movies, web series, documentaries, talk shows, and music videos on their platform, but they're also planning on starting sports live streaming by the first quarter of 2025. Now, while Dustin found his startup idea while living in Manipur, the next startup founder that I want to talk about was actually living in the United States when he quit his job to move back to Manipur to start his company. Eroshil Namayarapam had been working for 9 years in the United States, but was tired of working for large corporations where he was only helping the rich to get richer. Instead, he wanted to do something that would directly impact the lives and livelihood of the people of his home state. His father, Professor N. Irabanta Singh, was the head of the Department of Life Sciences at Manipur University. And so Eroshil partnered with his father to start Nibiaa Devices as an agri-tech startup. Initially, they were helping farmers farmers and packaged food brands optimized their supply chains using IoT and blockchain technology. And while they were doing this, they realized that they could actually use these same IoT devices to help other industries as well. And so instead of just focusing on the agriculture industry, they brought on Laitonjam as their third co-founder to help them build a technology platform that could use IoT to help different industries optimize their operations. Their first flagship product was Nibiaa, which is a smart restaurant monitoring platform. So let's say you own a restaurant and you want a way to manage all of your operations and monitor your restaurant from home. Well, that's when you'd go to Nibiaa Devices, because they use IoT devices and sensors to convert all of your equipment, be it your doors, refrigerators, or counters, into smart devices. Even though Eroshil told me that it took them a year just to figure out their business model and they had no revenue to show for it, today they have more than 70 customers across different industries using their IoT-based solutions in over 10 countries. In fact, in 2023, they even set up a US-based entity to cater to their international clients. Eroshil isn't the only founder in this list who decided to quit their overseas job to return back to Manipur to start a venture. By 2016, Elizabeth Yambim had accumulated enough money from her cushy job in Singapore that she could actually quit her job and return to Manipur, but she had no idea what she wanted to do. So she started looking at things that Manipur is known for, and two things came to mind: football and tea. And at that moment, she knew exactly what she wanted to do. Growing up, traditional herbs like nongmangka, which is known for its antiviral properties, were used to help with cough and fever, but these herbs tasted like medicine, so people weren't consuming them as much as they used to. And so Elizabeth started mixing these locally grown herbs and fruits with tea, creating authentic and healthy blended teas that tasted amazing. Then by 2017, Elizabeth used 20 lakh rupees from her own savings to launch her own tea under the brand name Dweller Teas. She started selling her blended tea concoctions at various local events, and today Dweller Teas has opened up 2 cafes in Manipur, and they're also selling their teas across India through their website. Now, while Elizabeth is making people's lives better with her herbal medicinal tea, this next company is making people's lives better with AI, and specifically their customers are people who are visually impaired. Thangjam Akumen had an uncle who was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa, which is a rare eye disease which damages your retina and causes loss of vision. And at the time, Thangjam was working as an avionics engineer, and he thought to himself, if he could make autonomous cars and robots that can clean our houses, why can't he use technology to help visually impaired people? So in 2021, he quit his job and started Akumen AI to solve this exact problem. And they're working on eyewear that uses cameras and LiDAR sensors to map surroundings and inform the wearer using audio and haptic feedback. They're already in the process of testing their visually assistive glasses to get more feedback on their product, and Thangjam told me that once their product is ready, it'll cost just 1/10 the price of similar products that are available in global markets. They got a chance to show off their product at the Startup Mahakumi event that happened earlier this year, introducing the rest of the country to their affordable visually assistive glasses. But that's not the end of their ambitions, because they've also started working on a low-cost 3D printed bionic arm for amputees too. Now, speaking of low cost, the next startup on this list is manufacturing machines right in Imphal to help micro and small businesses make their operations more cost effective. Gyanendro Khomdram had always been an entrepreneur at heart, even when he was selling paper cartons and magazines as a kid. He completed his master's in food technology, and then he dipped his toes in the food processing industry for a bit by consulting. Then, once he knew enough about the industry, he started Imphal Machines in 2019. Today, his company makes all kinds of machines that help with bamboo shoot processing to ginger processing, and all of their products are designed and manufactured right in their own factory in Imphal, keeping the local needs in mind. The founder of this company told me that he didn't have a single client in the first year of the business and made 0 sales. Today though, they have around 30 clients, and by the end of FY23, their revenue had crossed 1 crore rupees, before coming down to just 25 lakh rupees in FY24 due to the ongoing crisis in the state. Now, while Imphal Machines did experience a significant decline in their revenue, this next company actually considered shutting down less than a year after they'd started. Swati Thangjam started Maraah in late 2022 with the goal of building a sustainable and eco-conscious lifestyle brand from Manipur. At Maraah, they're using water reedgrass, locally known as kauna, to craft these beautiful handmade bags that are sold to their customers through their online store. And within a couple of months of launching the business, Maraah had more than 50 customers. They were just getting started, but that's when the entire state was shut down due to the crisis. And so they even considered shutting down their startup for good. But it was during this time that they got selected for the Youth Collab Fellowship Program, which is an initiative created by the UNDP and City Foundation. Since then, Swati has dedicated herself to rebuilding Maraah from scratch. And any normal person would have given up by now. It would have been much easier, for example, to start up in a metro city like Bengaluru. So I asked her, why did she decide to continue to build her company in Manipur? And her reply really inspired me. She said, if everyone starts going outside, then how will there be improvements here? With Maraah, Swati is trying to create an ecosystem where she can provide opportunities to local artisans and youth from marginalized communities while building this eco-conscious lifestyle brand. It's a pretty inspiring story. But Maraah isn't the only startup that's trying to positively impact the lives of people in Manipur. In fact, the next company in this list is actually providing a service that in the past, most people would have to travel outside of the state for. I'm talking about Locomotion Healthcare, a company that provides customized artificial limbs for their patients at affordable prices through their rehabilitation clinic. Dr. Atopam Johnson Luang and Atopam Yogin have been working as orthotists and prosthetists for a while now, and during this time, they've come to know that differently abled people in Manipur have been spending a lot of money traveling out of the state to get the right artificial limbs and orthopedic devices fitted. And so in 2017, the duo set up their own clinic to offer these services to their patients right in Imphal so that people don't need to travel out of the state. So far, they've already managed to help more than 100 customers through their clinic and also in collaboration with other NGOs and hospitals in the state. Okay, so for the final two startups in this video, we're actually going to travel out of the city of Imphal and focus on two other places in the state. And the first startup from another place is called Hill Wild, and they're from the town of Ukhrul. Founded by Zenring Angkang in 2017, this was actually one of the first startups to be ever started in the city of Ukhrul. And the company had its very early start when she was making chocolates as a hobby after her trip to Uti, where she visited a couple of chocolate factories. And she didn't really think that this hobby would turn into anything more, but then she had to leave Delhi and move back to her hometown to take care of her ailing father in 2016. And so at that time, with very little knowledge, Zenrin and her partner turned their hobby into a passion and started Hill Wild, selling indigenous chocolates from the region. And their chocolates were an instant hit. Today, their portfolio of products includes chocolate, honey, hot sauce, tea, spices, and dried fruits, all of which are made using the wild flora that grow in the hills of Ukhrul. They're also working with 200 farmers to procure these ingredients while making a positive impact on the local economy. Now, it is worth noting that Hill Wild is currently on pause due to the ongoing crisis, but they're down, not out. But while the founders of Hill Wild traveled from outside of the state into Manipur, the founder of the next company in this video has actually never traveled outside of the state, and they've actually made a pretty successful business out of selling furniture and electronic appliances. This company called Lengliim was started in 2021 in the town of Churachampur. The founders of the company, Zon Sangmingnun and Florence Lamhongai Hokip, tried to get funding by applying to different startup programs, but all of them rejected this company. So they had no option but to bootstrap their business. They started by focusing on providing quality services like offering home deliveries and dedicated in-house technicians to help their customers set up their products. And this was especially crucial since there was no authorized service centers in the city. Today, Lengliim has sold their products to more than 2,000 households and over 150 institutions. And all of their sales have come from their own town, but I thought that this number seemed a little bit small, but then they shared with me some more information. See, there are only 25,000 households in the entire district, and 2,000 of these households are already their customers. And the insightful realization that this startup had is that a lot of people from Manipur have moved out in search of work, but they still have families who are living in the city. And so this company started their online store to make it easier for people to order for their families. Now, they're even planning on expanding their presence to other cities by opening more retail outlets in the coming years. All right, I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I want to give a huge shout out to all of the startup founders that are currently building their companies in Manipur. In spite of everything that's happened, you guys are some of the most resilient entrepreneurs in the entire country, and I applaud you. If you want to check out another video that we made about another state in Northeast India, you can find the video that we made about the top 10 startups from Mizoram, which is the state that I currently live in the top right corner of your screen. I think you'll really enjoy it, and unfortunately that video did not get a lot of views. Not sure what happened, but if you want to check it out, you can find it up there, and I will catch you in the next one.